If you've ever tried to compost but ended up with a smelly mess or a dry pile that just sits there doing nothing, you're not alone. Composting can seem simple, but getting it right, especially if you're new to gardening, can feel like an art form. The good news is, once you understand a few core principles, it becomes incredibly easy to create rich, dark compost that your plants will absolutely love. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a fail-proof, 3-step method for making compost that actually breaks down and feeds your soil like magic. Whether you're composting in a backyard bin, a raised bed, or even just a pile in the corner of your yard, these steps will work for you. Step 1. Get your greens and browns right. The first step to successful composting is understanding the balance between greens and browns. Think of greens as your nitrogen-rich materials, things like fruit and veggie scraps, coffee grounds, fresh grass clippings, and garden trimmings. Browns, on the other hand, are carbon-rich, like dried leaves, shredded cardboard, paper, and small twigs. For compost to break down efficiently, you need the right ratio, ideally, about 2 to 3 parts brown to 1 part green. If you've ever dealt with a slimy, stinky compost pile, chances are you had too many greens and not enough browns. On the flip side, if your pile is dry and slow to break down, it likely has too many browns. A quick tip: always keep a small bag or pile of browns nearby, like shredded newspaper or dry leaves. So every time you add kitchen scraps, you can sprinkle on some browns. It's a simple habit that keeps your pile perfectly balanced and odor-free. Step 2. Moisture and air, your compost's best friends. Compost is a living system, which means it needs 2 things to stay alive and healthy: moisture and air. Think of your compost like a sponge. It should feel like a wrung-out dishcloth, damp but not soaking wet. If it's too dry, the microbes that break down organic material will slow down or stop completely. If it's too wet, you'll get anaerobic rot, which smells awful and can attract pests. So, if you live in a rainy area, you might want to cover your compost bin with a tarp or lid to keep excess water out. On the other hand, if you're in a dry climate, you can occasionally sprinkle water over the pile to keep it moist. Just use your hand to feel it every few days. If it's dry to the touch, go ahead and give it a light watering. Air is just as important. Without enough oxygen, your compost will go anaerobic, meaning the good microbes will suffocate, and the wrong kinds of bacteria will take over. That's when things start to rot instead of decompose. You don't need fancy turning tools or a tumbler either. Just use a garden fork or stick to stir your compost every week or 2. This simple act adds oxygen, speeds up decomposition, and helps mix the materials evenly. Step 3. Layer and build like nature does. Nature composts in layers: fallen leaves, animal droppings, decomposing plants, all in a beautiful, chaotic pile. You can mimic that by layering your greens and browns. Start your compost pile with a thick brown base. Shredded cardboard or straw works great. Then add your greens like kitchen scraps or grass clippings. Add another layer of browns on top. Keep alternating as you go. This structure allows airflow between layers and prevents clumping, especially when adding things like food scraps. One common mistake people make is tossing all their food waste into the compost at once, which creates a dense, slimy mass. Instead, break up your kitchen scraps and mix them with some brown material before tossing them in. If you're composting things like banana peels, lettuce, or apple cores, try chopping them up smaller. It'll speed up the process significantly. Once your compost pile is established and well layered, nature takes over. Microbes, fungi, and even worms will move in to do the hard work for you. In warm weather, you can have finished compost in as little as 6 to 8 weeks. In colder months, it might take longer, but it's still working, just slower. Bonus tips for fail-proof compost every time. Avoid composting meat, dairy, and oily foods. They attract pests and slow down the process. Crush eggshells before adding them to help them break down faster. Add a compost activator if you want to give things a boost. This can be as simple as a handful of finished compost, aged manure, or even a scoop of healthy garden soil. And don't worry about perfection. Composting isn't an exact science, and nature is very forgiving. And that's it. By following these 3 easy steps, balancing greens and browns, maintaining moisture and air, and layering like nature, you'll have rich, crumbly compost ready to feed your garden. Your plants will reward you with stronger roots, better growth, and bigger harvests. Let me know in the comments. Are you composting already, or is this your first time? I'd love to hear your experience.